Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to talk about gratitude and ambition. You can be grateful and want more for yourself at the same time. This episode was inspired by one of my clients who came into a session deeply frustrated. And he was frustrated because every time he shared his vision for a bigger, brighter future, people in his life would respond with, you should just be grateful for what you have already. There are some people who would dream of having what you have. And it made him feel like they were insinuating that he was being ungrateful and greedy, which understandably made him feel discouraged and alone. Now, that conversation opened my eyes to how often people unknowingly project this mindset. The moment you talk about your ambitions, the default response is often along the lines of, we should be grateful we even have a job. Or, just learn to appreciate what you have. Now, don't get me wrong. Gratitude is powerful. There's always something to be thankful for. However, we also need to recognize when this well-meaning advice becomes an honorable excuse to stay in our comfort zones and avoid growth. In today's episode, we're diving into why gratitude and ambition are not mutually exclusive and how you can respond to those who unknowingly try to keep you small. Let's get right into it. First off, I want to share a personal story about how I learned the immense value of focusing on gratitude. When I was around 12, my family moved to Germany, and when we got there, we were in a really tough spot. Financially, we were down in the dumps. We were in a foreign country where we didn't feel at home, and as kids had to very quickly learn a new language so that we can keep up with school. And just to put a cherry on top, 6 months after moving, my dad passed away. It really felt like our family had fallen into this collective depression. And for all of us, it felt like life was just one big experience of pain and struggle. And the longer we stayed in it, the more it became a downward spiral. Then, one morning, I decided to try something. I stuck a piece of paper on the fridge and told my mom and sister, we can be miserable all day if we need to, but before bed, each of us has to write at least one thing that we're grateful for. Even if it's as simple as, I'm glad I can see, or I'm grateful that I can walk. And we did this every single day for 30 days, and the transformation was nothing short of a miracle. By the end of that month, we were in a completely different place. It pulled us out of that dark place and put us on solid ground again, and we finally felt like life was worth living after all. And I think what made it so powerful was not just seeing what I was grateful for, but also reading what my mom and sister were happy about. Somehow it gave me the comfort that they were okay, and it reminded me that our situation wasn't as hopeless as it felt. From there, it became an upward spiral. So, I know firsthand that gratitude has the power to ground us and remind us of the good in our lives. It changes the filter through which we see life, and that allows us to recognize opportunities, and it creates fertile mental grounds to create even more goodness. So there's no denying its value, but I've also learned something else. Gratitude does not mean settling. Just because I can walk does not mean I shouldn't want to run. Just because I have a good relationship does not mean I shouldn't want a great relationship. Just because I can survive does not mean I shouldn't want to thrive. Gratitude and ambition can coexist. Society often teaches us that wanting more somehow makes us ungrateful. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Gratitude is about appreciating the present, and ambition is about envisioning and being excited for the future. These two forces can coexist, and in fact, they should. You see, when you're grateful for what you have, you're in a better position to dream bigger. And when you're striving for more and you achieve more, you have even more to be grateful for. You see the upward spiral it creates? So if you feel guilty about wanting more, let me tell you this, you're okay. You're not being selfish or ungrateful. You're embracing a fundamental part of what makes life fulfilling: growth and evolution. In one of his talks, Jim Rohn once said that investing in yourself is not selfish, because the more you invest in your growth, the more valuable you become to others. This blew my mind, and it beautifully sums up what I'm trying to bring across in this episode. You can be really happy about what you have now and be super excited about the future that you are building for yourself. Both things can be true at the same time, and it has nothing to do with being ungrateful. So what happens when the people around you don't understand? When they respond to your dreams with comments like, "Just be happy with what you have," or "Others can only dream of what you've got," or "We should be grateful that we just have a job in the first place. Don't complain about wanting something else." When you hear these comments, understand that it's often rooted in their fear. This fear can take different forms. It can be fear of failure. They might worry you'll get hurt or face disappointment, and to them staying where you are feels safer than taking risks, and they are genuinely trying to protect you. And it's often rooted in their own beliefs about what is possible. Or they might have fear of change. Growth often brings shifts in relationships, and they might worry that as you evolve, the dynamic between you will change, or that they'll be left behind. They might also fear what it says about them. Your progress might hold up a mirror to areas in their own lives that they're avoiding. And this can trigger insecurities about their choices or lack of action. It's important to understand that their reactions come from their experiences and not your reality. Acknowledging and understanding this can help you approach these situations with compassion while staying aligned with your goals. Here are some ways that you can navigate this. First of all, reassure them. If their fear is about change or the relationship, let them know your growth does not mean they're being left behind. In fact, share how your success will positively impact your life and future together. Secondly, set boundaries. If someone consistently dismisses your ambitions or makes you feel guilty, consider limiting what you share with them. Instead, focus on seeking out people who will support and cheer you on. Or just keep it to yourself if you have no one else around. Third, accept and adapt. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to cut ties with them completely. You could just focus on connecting in areas where you are still on common grounds. And that way a friendship isn't lost. And then lastly, and we need to include this here, sometimes growth means outgrowing certain relationships. If someone continuously undermines your dreams or make you feel small or guilty, it may be time to let them go. Letting go isn't easy, but it creates space for people who align with your vision and who support your growth. The main thing to remember is that their resistance is about them and not you. While you can approach them with empathy, their fears shouldn't hold you back. Your growth is yours to own and yours to celebrate. Whatever the situation, their perspective doesn't have to define your path. You are allowed to want more from life. In fact, as we learned from Jim Rohn, if you do it with the right intention, you can be of immense value to others through your own growth. So, next time someone tells you, just be grateful for what you have, take a breath, smile, and remember this: gratitude and ambition are not enemies. They're partners in your journey to a meaningful life. Life is meant to be lived to the fullest, so stay thankful, dream big, and always stay powered by progress. Thank you for hanging out with me again. Have yourself a kick-ass day, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye.